morning, afternoon, evening or night, and salam namaste to all of you beautiful people of the internet. Welcome back to my channel, guys. My name is Ren Xx and this is episode number 7 of What Makes Hamtham Smile. So kicking it off this week at number 1, the first thing that made me smile was actually a little video that was sent to me by my friend Shivani and her sister Thea and brother Kushalan. So during the week, they were actually watching last week's episode of What Makes Hamtham Smile. Now, what was so special to me about this video was the fact that they had What Makes Hamtham Smile literally projected up onto their TV screen. And the reason that I smiled so much was because I think about 2 or 3 weeks ago, another South African YouTuber, Jessica van Heerden, she actually put up on her IG stories a little story or picture of somebody who had done the same thing, and they had tagged the picture, you know, spending the day with my favorite YouTuber, and they had one of her vlogs put up on their TV. And I was like, when I saw that a couple weeks ago, I was like, oh my goodness, that is so cool. Imagine somebody like watching one of my videos on their TV one day. And then when Shivani sent me that video this week, I can't tell you how much it meant to me and just how much it made me smile. So Shivs, Thea, Kushalan, thank you so very much. I can't tell you how much that warmed my heart. The second thing that made me smile this week, and it was actually more of a laugh than a smile. So I was on Facebook and there was this meme about how when you ask your mom to wake you up at one time, she wakes you up at another time. And here's the story about that meme. So when we were in school, my mom would literally come like barging into the room and she'd be like, oh my gosh, it's like 7:15 already, you have to wake up, you're gonna be late for school, etc, etc, etc. And my brother and I would literally jump out of bed because now we're like, oh my goodness, it's so late, we still have to have a shower, have breakfast, get to school, etc, etc, etc. Meanwhile, we jump out of bed and then we look at the time. It's 6:30. 6:30. I mean, come on. Okay, I know some of you are thinking, well, that's not early, but we lived really, really close to school, so we didn't have to wake up as early. But my point is that she tells us one time when in actual fact it's another time, and I mean, come on, I can't be the only person that relates to the story. If you relate, if your mom did the same thing to you guys growing up, please let me know in the comment section down below so that I know I'm not the only one. Well, so my brother and I know that we're not the only ones. The third thing that made me smile this week was my friend Neha and just how much she believes in me and just how much she supports me. And it's so ironic that this week of all weeks I'm actually bringing in this story because it's the second time I'm chatting about it. I actually spoke about it in the first ever episode of What Makes Hamtham Smile, and I just realized I was using the same shirt then as well. But going back to what happened this week, I had mentioned her in last week's episode of What Makes Hamtham Smile, and it was only after a while that I put up the little snippet that I do in my IG stories and tagged her. So once she had gotten the notification, she sends me a message saying, I watched the whole thing before you tagged me. So then I replied and I said, LOL, aw, look at you being all supportive. But legit, Neha has always been like this. And this actually reminded me of something that happened in grade 7. So the school was putting on the play High School Musical, and obviously we had to audition. So I remember one day when I was practicing, when I was done, Neha just looked at me and she was like, Ren, you can sing. And it was just the look on her face and the way in which she said it. It just instilled so much of confidence in me and my ability to sing. So much so that I thought to myself, you know what? Maybe I could pursue singing in high school. So Neha, if you didn't know the story, thank you so much. You legit don't know what a big impact you had on my singing career, if you want to call it. A fun fact, by the way, I used to call Neha my manager in high school, and I still do up till today. The fourth thing that made me smile this week, and again, this was more of a laugh than a smile. So I was on Facebook this week and there was a picture that came up of this girl sort of lying down on the floor, and then there was a towel and her hair was sprawled over the towel, and then there was someone literally ironing her hair with an actual iron, like the one that you iron clothes with. I mean, there we go. That should tell you. So anyway, that picture literally brought back the pre-GHD struggles. Girls, come on, I am sure I'm not the only one who did this. Right? So anyway, I legit remember sitting on a chair, having like the ironing board behind me, and then like the towel, and then taking my hair and putting it over, and then my aunt Roma would literally take the iron and flatten it out. Like, I cannot believe the things we did back in the day before GHDs were invented. And come on, as I said, I cannot be the only one. Guys, if you remember doing this back in the day, let me know in the comment section down below. Let's all band together. Pre-GHD struggles, people. Pre-GHD struggles. The fifth thing that made me smile this week was my mom finding our old camera. Now, there were videos on there from like 2012, and I'm talking holidays and videos from matric. And I got to reminisce about how I looked back then, to what my brother sounded like back then.
Okay, say hi, Mom. Hi, this is the window that's for me on holiday. She's tears and jersey, and then I need to sew it just before going for the show when I'm all dressed up. Excuse me, is that my fault? Thanks a lot, sweetheart. Okay, well, anyway, where are you off to now? I'm off to the Phuket Fantasy Show. Okay.
Where's Molly's Grace?
This one is crying. Yeah, we're hoping that today he doesn't cry and he smells for the photo nicely. So, where are you off to as well? Tell us, tell the
I'm
people.
following strings.
Okay, you follow strikes wherever she goes. Smolly's you?
I'm tired.
Smolly's is forever tired. Okay. Well, until after the show, let me tell you guys how it is. Bye!
To my favorite was a video that was taken on our matric bonding tour. I legit filmed that entire little, I don't know, 2 or 3 minute video, only to realize yours truly did not click the record button.
When Renisha tries to do a video diary but doesn't actually record, what is happening? I just tried to do a video diary and I had the whole thing trying to be recording, but it wasn't really recording. So there's a pretty ocean, as I just showed you guys 2 minutes ago. Not really, but I did. Okay.
Listen, I was new to the whole vlogging thing, okay? Like, back in the day, it wasn't even called a vlog. Oh man, I guess it was called a vlog. I used to call them video diaries, but whatever it was, it just cracked me up so much watching those videos. But at the same time, you guys know I am such a sucker for nostalgia, so I just loved watching them. The sixth thing that made me smile this week was watching Never Have I Ever. All I'm gonna say is snaps for representation, people. Snaps for representation. If you haven't watched it as yet, please try and get your hands on it. It is absolutely incredible. So it's time now for what makes Thum smile. And as with every week, the question was put out as to what made you smile this week. And the first answer comes through from Neha. She says there's this group of guys that comes on the beach every day and feeds the stray dogs. Guys, whoever you are, snaps to you. You are doing such a fantastic job and you will be eternally blessed for what you're doing. The second answer comes through from Priyanka. So she says, my ability to move my body and learn each and every day about reaching my divinity. Pri snaps to you for self-improvement and wanting to better who you are and actually doing it each and every day. We could all learn a thing or two. The third answer comes through from Angelique, and she says, wait. Let me give you a little backstory to what she says. So if you guys watch What Makes Thum Smile episode number 6, you would have seen that one of the things that made me smile last week was the fact that Stephanie Meyer was going to make an announcement of some sort. So we finally know what it is. So she says that she is going to be releasing Midnight Sun on the 4th of August this year. Now, I am super excited for it. Social media though seems to be like sort of 50-50. But anyways, Ange sent me a message about Midnight Sun and this is what she had to say. She says, "It's so weird because I will always have a soft spot for the series in my heart. It was my first proper book series that I read. Gosh, started reading it in grade 8. Dude, that's 10 years ago. Obviously, I was a bit late to the party, but still, I remember getting Breaking Dawn for my birthday. I was so happy. Took me 3.5 days to finish that book, the quickest I've ever taken to finish a book. Looking back at the story and the movies with older eyes is weird because I'm like, well, this is nonsense, but it's my nonsense and I love it." And do you know what I love about her message? Is that, do you know what? She's talking about the nostalgia of Twilight and the sentimentality behind it. And I think for most people, maybe, yeah, as an adult, you look back and you're like, what was this about? And things like that. But as she says, it's her nonsense. And what I'd said to her afterwards was, I think what people love about Twilight is what it represents in their life. If you've watched a previous episode of mine of What Makes Hamtham Smile, you'd know that I talked about what Twilight means to me in terms of the fact that the reason it's so special is because I loved my high school years and there was a Twilight movie that released in each of those years. And that's why when I watch those movies, I sort of reminisce and get to relive what were some of the best years of my life. So yeah, I just think that Twilight sort of represents, I don't know, nostalgia to people. It's more about what the books and the movies represent than what it's actually about. If you can relate to what I'm saying, please let me know in the comment section down below. Hopping on over now to Social Smiles. Now, Social Smiles is basically a compilation of pictures and videos and posts that I've seen throughout the week on social media that have made me smile, and I hope they do the same for you.
You call yourself ugly, but you've only seen yourself when you look at the mirror. You don't see yourself when your face lights up at the sight of a baby, ice cream, or your favorite restaurant. You don't see yourself when you smile at me for finally understanding what you're trying to say. You don't see yourself when you're so focused at the things you love doing. You tell yourself you're ugly, but you've never seen yourself talk about the things you love. The stars, sky, the constellations, and the universe. You never saw yourself tear up for laughing so hard or turning red after I told you something cheesy. I guess that's why it's so easy for people to say they're ugly, because they've never seen themselves in the smallest moments, in the ordinary, and still be beautiful. Admit it, you got a dope soul. Stop regretting being a caring person. Whoever got to experience you needed your light at that time. You stay kind and committed to your love. Don't you dare doubt your worth or the beauty of your truth. Just keep on shining like you do.
So we're almost at the end of this week's episode of What Makes Hamtham Smile, and you know what that means. It is time now for Sing for Smiles. So this week I am dedicating the song 1,000 Years to all of the Twilight fans out there, especially Angelique and Twilight Saga Lives. And this is in anticipation of Midnight Sun. So I'm going to take this from the second verse onwards. Time stands still, beauty in all she is. I will be brave, I will not let anything take away what's standing in front of me. Every breath, every hour has come to this. One step closer. I have died every day waiting for you. Darling, don't be afraid. I have loved you for 1,000 years. I love you for 1,000 more. All along I believed I would find you. Time has brought your heart to me. I have loved you for 1,000 years. I love you for 1,000 more. I hope you enjoyed that. So guys, that wraps up this week's episode of What Makes Hump Them Smile. Remember, if you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up as well as hitting that subscribe button down below. And if you really liked it, please share it with your friends and fans and help spread a smile. And until next week, don't forget, your vibe, it attracts your tribe. Bye!